Alright guys, here is our next video in our line of videos which we've been talking about some different things as it relates to ancient Egypt, and today's is going to be specifically about mummification and the process that it took to get the body ready for the afterlife. As we talked about a little bit in class and kind of reminded you that the Egyptians lived their lives for death basically. They wanted to prepare themselves to be ready for the afterlife, and mummification was part of that process. One of the things that you guys really, really need to understand is that everybody wanted their bodies mummified in some way, shape, or form. Just to the extent of how it was done was based on how wealthy you were. If you were poor, oftentimes your body was given with some of the things that you would need for your afterlife, whether it be small statues of your family, maybe some tools that you used in this life, or whatever you did that you possibly need in the afterlife, would be buried with you in the desert with the hopes that your body would dry out and your soul or your ka would come to find it in the afterlife, and your body would get up and walk again in the afterlife. And like I just said there too, the ka is the body's soul, something you probably should pay attention to and know about as it relates to this topic, because that is very key to the Egyptians' belief and how they were preparing themselves for the afterlife. So they needed to make sure that their body was identifiable in the afterlife, and that's why they went through this process of mummification. Now, if you were wealthier, you could afford a more detailed process of mummification. It took anywhere from 60 to 70 days to go through this process, in which they basically removed all of the organs from the body, with the exception of the heart, because they believed that the heart did all the thinking for the body and it needed to stay in place. And once they removed all the organs from the body, they would anoint the body with oils and perfumes and incenses and stuff like that, and then bury it in basically a pile of a mixture of baking soda and sand, which was called nitron, which we'll see in the Mr. Mummy video that we're going to talk about or watch, or did watch. And basically that stuff is then packed around the body to basically dry out the body and help to preserve for the afterlife. Once that process took place, the body was dried out. It was then wrapped into fine linens, placed into a sarcophagus, and then eventually taken to its tomb, which, like I said, for the Old Kingdom was the pyramids. For the newer kingdoms, it was the Valley of the Kings. But they were buried there, and basically that is where they were expected that they were going to live their afterlife and get up and use the body again in the afterlife. And that's why they went through such a detailed process to mummify, to build the pyramids, to build the tombs for these wealthier people, or to send things with people in the afterlife in order to make sure that they had those things to use as needed in the afterlife. So all of this was very important for the process of mummification. And like I said, it was a very detailed process for the rich and wealthy, but everybody, like I said before, everybody wanted to have their body mummified in some way, shape, or form, because they knew that their ka was going to need it in the afterlife. So that pretty much covers why and how they mummified different the bodies. We'll watch a little bit more detailed stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about it in class as well too. So once again, make sure you guys answer the question at the end of the video, and I will talk to you guys soon.